I've run multi-million dollar companies. I've had unionized staff. I've worked in unionized environments. I've worked in every kind of business operation you can think of. I think the biggest issue that faces us today is trying to repair that rift.
Hey everybody, I'm here today with Rob Campbell, who is the nominee for the director position at the Calgary Real Estate Board. And so today we wanted to chat with you, Rob, and kind of inform some of the agents that we have within our network about what it is you're proposing to bring value to at CREB, how you're going to do that, and what you have in mind for the future of membership here for members at the Calgary Real Estate Board. So maybe why don't we start off with a brief introduction for those of you that don't know who Rob is. You can tell us in your words how long you've been in the industry and what excites you about this business.
So I've been practicing for about 18 years. Most of that's been commercial, a little bit of residential for family and friends, but the bulk of it's been commercial. I love what I do. I love this organization. I've been volunteering at CREB probably since my second year. And I've sat on tech committee, commercial committee, was president of the Charitable Foundation, was blessed to have been awarded the TWH Saunders Award a few years back, which was a milestone moment for me. It was humbling.
And let's just, for the people that don't know what that is, let's dive into that a little bit.
I hate saying Realtor of the Year. It just sounds so self-serving. It was a very humbling thing to be awarded.
But that's also something you need to be nominated for. We know we have 7,000 members at the Calgary Real Estate Board right now, so that's a massive accolade to be able to achieve that type of accomplishment, right? So
especially that early in your career.
Yeah. So how many years into the business?
18.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you had won that award?
When I won it 15, 16? Yeah. I think it was 2021, I think is when I won it.
So well qualified, good merits to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of stuff up there. The lockbox RFP. I was involved in picking the MLS system when we changed over. So trips down to California, reviewing product, back and forth to Vancouver and Edmonton. So I've done a lot of stuff. I've been involved. I've enjoyed it. It's been very rewarding. And I guess the reason that I threw my hat in the ring this time is just I'm not super enamored with the way that things are going at the moment.
Enamored's probably a good word to use. Let's maybe touch on that a little bit. What are some of the things that are causing a bit of frustration? When I started this 18 years ago, obviously it was a much smaller board. We were probably fewer members,
5,400 members, somewhere in that range. But there was a sense of community. It really was, it was different. And I think that, I'm a technology guy, not as much as like some of you guys are, but I've always been involved in it. I've always enjoyed trying to stay as current as I can. Technology has been a blessing and a curse, because when we used to do a deal, we'd go see you and here's your paper, we were face to face. You got to know people, right? Well, some of us have more belly than others, but belly to belly for sure. I think there was a sense of community there that really served us well, because when we were doing deals, if you knew the other person, you left that kind of angry, the bitchy stuff at the door. Mm-hmm. Today, a lot of this stuff just goes back and forth on email. It's voicemails and texts, and you never get to shake someone's hand.
Not as much of a sense of community as there was in years past.
We've seen it kind of escalate into some pretty nasty stuff, and I think we got to get back to that. We've got to start looking at it as being a co-op again and becoming a community.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would love to see us brought in a little bit closer together. When I started in the industry, I was a second generation realtor.
Right.
I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I loved that about real estate. Both my parents were going out to play, dodgeball. They were on baseball teams. They were going out to events with other CREB members, and realtors were a lot closer together. We saw a lot of use out of the CREB building. I actually did all my educational requirements there, and I love that. I think that we've kind of departed from that a little bit. I see the value in having technology tools education and resources that people can follow online. But I'd like to see an opportunity for us to try and bring that back in.
See, you touched on one of my soft spots because, again, when I joined, you remember Gayla, and
Sure.
she ran the education department at CREB for years. I did the same thing. I took my classes up there. I remember George Lodes, right? Just those people were pillars in our industry, and you learned a lot from them. You don't get the same thing out of an online course.
Now, for those that want to do it, it should be available. But for other agents that want that in-person teacher, student, environment, then
I think when you look at it, one of the things that we had was we used to have a credit system where you had to do a certain number of credits every year in order to get your licensing, right? It's like the mandatory courses.
Right.
Instead, they did credits. So you go up and you'd look at you go online, you pick a course, it was 3 credits, and then pick another course, it was 2 days, it was 6 credits, and you put those together until you hit 20 or whatever the hell it was.
in order to get your license.
Exactly, to renew your license. And then you went up to the board and you sat in the classroom and you took those courses and you met people that you'd never met before and you saw people you hadn't seen in ages. Again, it built that sense of community. It made people go up to the board, use that beautiful building that we have.
So how do we get back to that? I guess that's the question. So if you were elected into this position, what are some of the things that you would like to see change to better our industry and our membership?
One of the big questions that people keep asking me are, what are the issues that you think are important? I think the biggest one now is we just went through the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it was, of discussing this merger. Hot button topic. And just for the record, I voted no. I'm completely transparent with that. I felt there were some questions that needed to be answered, and that's why I voted the way I did. I think the biggest issue that faces us today is trying to repair that rift, that 56 to 46 or whatever the hell the number was.
Yeah, it's almost split down
right?
the middle. Pretty
exactly.
divisive. Yeah.
It's like U.S. politics, right? We've got this line that we can drive a truck through. We got to fix that hole. We got to start bringing people back together. We got to repair that rift, and we need to be able to, as a group, as 7,000 members, speak to the board with one voice, have the board hear us, and start moving towards things that are going to help bring us back together.
And I guess that's the question. I think everybody wants to get there. It's just how do we get there, and who's the right people to help us get there?
That's a tough question. I mean, I don't think there's any one person. I don't think there's any one group of people. I don't think the board as a whole has the power to do it. We've got to want to do it as a membership. We've got to want to lay aside some of this stuff. The vote's been had.
So now
we're done.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Where do we go from here?
Exactly.
How do we move forward from this?
Put away the apathy, put away all the anger and the frustration, and as a group of 7,000 people say, okay, where do we go?
Now, has the industry changed though? Because there's guys like you and me that have been in this business for a while that like the old way that things were done, that sense of belly-to-belly community. But I think there's also another set of newer agents that live in a world where that's just not their reality. So how do we rein those people in? I guess that's the...
Well, I mean...
Are we being short-sighted in thinking that we can go back to the way things were with a hybrid of the new world that we live in, or do we have to shift?
I think we all have to shift. I think that as I'm 56 years old. It's not like I'm, one foot in the grave. But yeah, I enjoyed the way that we did it before. I'd love to have someone come and meet me and say, well, let's go have a drink and here's your paper, here's my paper. But we're all moving quick. I get it. And there are certain things that we've embraced through technology. I think we're all kind of, there's a way to fix it so that people who want the virtual can have the virtual. But I would still encourage them, get to know the people you're working with. Come to events, right?
Well, and I think there needs to be more of that over the last couple of years. And of course, we can blame a little bit of this on the pandemic, but there's been fewer and fewer events and less attendance at some of these events. So I think personally, the board can do a little bit better of a job of giving the people what they want.
I don't disagree with you. I think the big thing too is that when we look at it, we've had a diminishing number of committees over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The tech committee was a great committee. I don't know why we got rid of it. We don't have a commercial committee anymore. We don't have a social committee. right? There are lots of people who want to be involved. They just need the opportunity to get up there and get involved. And you got to give them a vehicle to be involved in what goes on. I've run multi-million-dollar companies. I've had unionized staff. I've worked in unionized environments. I've worked in every kind of business operation you can think of. All people want is to have a voice and to be heard. It may not necessarily be adopted, but people want to be able to voice their opinion and have it taken seriously.
I think that's a great way to...
Right? Like I encourage anybody who has a problem. I think that the way things are going these days, we need to kind of dial it back a bit. But if I'm elected, and that's a big if, I'm not expecting this to be a slam dunk. But if I am elected, my phone number is on my website. Call me anytime.
Well, and you've been around long enough
Right?
that most people
Like-
should know who you are and can pick up the phone and give you a call and ask the question. We want our board members to be...
Do you not know who I am?
We want... Well, you're an easy guy to spot.
Right? I take up a little real estate in the room.
We want the people on our board of directors to be people that we can approach, people that are respected in the industry, and people that can help drive change. We don't want someone to just fill a seat there for ego or anything like that. And
I agree.
you know, you've been around long enough. You've seen a lot of things. So, I mean, I think you have my stamp of approval because we've known each other for a long time. We've done business together, and it's always been a really positive interaction for me. But I'm pleased to hear a little bit more because I didn't know all these facts until we sat down today about some of your history and the giving back and the charitable stuff. I know, you know, the Children's Miracle Network, you did some of that as well.
Yeah, a little bit with that with Remax for sure. I think that the one thing is that getting into this stuff when I got volunteering with CREB, it wasn't what's in it for me. It's what can I do to give back? How can I participate and try and make this better? Which I think as long as people, you can't always be taking, you got to give something back, right? And I encourage people, like, if there's something that you're, I don't know, I don't want to say upset, if you're, you know, disenchanted with something that's going on.
That's a good word. I'm going to use that
Right?
with my wife.
Just
I'm disenchanted.
Disenchanted. Like, it doesn't always have to be angry. You can be frustrated. You can not be happy with something. But I think the anger is the problem that we're having. We go from 0 to 60 like that. Mm-hmm. And it's not productive. It doesn't do anything for us. If you really got a problem with something, I can assure you I can find you a volunteer position. Come on up. Voice your opinion, right? And if you don't have the time for it, call me. And as long as you're respectful and you're
Open-minded.
You're open-minded and you're going to give me your position, I'll take that information back to the table.
Yeah, we need to have more communication amongst agents and members, particularly newer agents that are, you know, just thrown into this industry that's so fast-paced and quick-moving. They need more information, resources, tools. They need to have a resource, a mentor, people that they can look up to and speak to, not only just board members, but our board of directors as well. So that's part of the reason for this interview, is to introduce you to our network of agents so that they can get a sense of who you are and what you bring to the table as a long-standing agent.
Look at you guys. Look how quickly you've grown, right? You're what, 500 members right now?
Yeah.
You have a lot of really young progressive agents.
Forward thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot.
What are they thinking when they're watching this soap opera drama bullshit? And I'll say it the way it is. I'm the only guy that's ever had a swear jar on his committee table at CREB. Proud of that fact. What are agents that are thinking, watching this shit go on at, you know,
Well,
they've been there for 6
are-
months and they're kind of going, really?
I think a lot of them are disengaged. What I found just through a lot of the communication that I had with agents, not just at our brokerage, but other brokerages, is a lot of them are just disassociated because they haven't been to the CREB building recently. They haven't been to other events to meet and be
Have they ever been to it?
Well, that's the thing. So they really, you know, this is part of the change that I'd like to see had at CREB is more of these types of conversations.
I couldn't
Educate
agree
people
more.
better. Have people come into the brokerages during monthly meetings and talk about some of these hot button issues so that they're better informed, because most people, they're so busy right now, and let's face it, in this industry you can make good money. They're just out there making money. Let's bring them in, but let's educate them. Let's help ensure that they become the agents of the future that we can hand the torch over to. And I don't think we're seeing that right now. So that's something that we need to improve for the future.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. We got to make some changes. But I think the biggest issue we have today is to kind of pull that divide back together. Get rid of that rift.
Yeah. People also on the board have to voice their opinions and speak their mind. Not everybody can, we talk about speaking with one voice, but we want you in this position to speak your mind, not just agree with the group, right?
30 some odd years as a businessman, 18 years at CREB as a realtor, 15, 16 of those as a volunteer. I've been called a lot of things. A wallflower is not one of them. I will voice my opinion. I will bring to the table issues that other agents will bring to me that need to get discussed. But at the end, after I've done what I can to fix those situations, voice those opinions, once the decision's made, yeah, you got to speak as one voice. Otherwise, it's
everybody's got to get on the same
dysfunctional.
page eventually.
Yeah,
but we need representatives.
To that point, when it's open forum and we're sitting there having a discussion about issues, yeah, I'm not a yes man. I never have been. It's just not how I roll. So yeah, as far as representation for the members, I'm in this for what's good for 7,000 people.
And are you excited about the future of this industry?
I have to be, because I don't like the alternative.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
100%.
So it's either we
have to protect what we have.
100%, and we have to work towards fixing it. Because if you turn around and you say it's unfixable and you give up, right? Like, and I'm on the tail end of my career, right? I mean, financially, I'm going to retire about the time I get my third set of teeth, but the rest of it, I can't see myself working till I'm 80. That's just not my gig, man. I want to go enjoy it. So I've got a limited amount of time, and while I'm here doing this, I want to have an impact. So.
Well, it sounds like you already have over the last 18 years. So we're excited to have you as a nominee for this position. We encourage all of the rest of our network of agents at Real to do their homework. Listen to guys like Rob, hear his platform. If you have questions for myself or anybody else regarding some of our discussion here today, then feel free to reach out. And thank you so much, Rob.
Thanks.